Welcome back to A Second Chance at Love and Marriage. I am Shanice Hemphill, and I wanted to give you the perspective of a woman in the process that I walked through from being single to being married and finding out that there are some things that I needed, and I didn't know that I needed them until Sean Hemphill showed up. So even with our history, it was, we've known each other for a number of years, of course. We have history, but at the same time, I was a single mom trying to raise my children for a number of years. So I carried the weight of that responsibility, not just being a woman, but a single woman, a black single parent of two sons. So I didn't realize how much of that, how much of that I was still carrying as far as just being so self-independent in a way that I had to always watch my own back. I had to look out for my own self pretty much all of my life. So I am reminded of July 19th. It was when I was taking Sean. This was at the end of our 30-day honeymoon this summer. So it was July 19th, and I was taking Sean back to the airport. And I remember just, logging off with my employer and just having emotions behind that and what was taking place at work. In addition to now I have to let go. I have to let Sean go back to Wisconsin, back to Milwaukee. And I started on the way to the airport, just emotions just started to bubble up where I just started to cry. I started to cry from a very deep place. And I remember Sean trying to reassure me and tell me, it's going to be okay, babe. It's going to be okay. And I told him in that moment, I am not okay. And I think that's important for people to say, I am not okay. Because a lot of times that's what we tell people. And I know it's just his kindness trying to reassure me of things, that it is going to be okay. And it is okay now. However, in that moment, it's like, I'm not okay. I am absolutely not okay. So just being able to say that to him, to say it to somebody who cares about my personal well-being, mentally, emotionally, physically, all of that, I felt a liberty and a freedom in doing so. At the same time, that was my first time saying that in a very long time. Now, keeping in mind that during our 30 days of honeymooning, there were a lot of times where I just broke down crying. At different points that, we were in conversations, and whatever the case, it was just me weeping and releasing from a deep place. So it was healing for me to be able to break down, to cry, to release. Not saying that I didn't cry before, I haven't cried in over 20 years, but just from a deep place, because now I had somebody that was willing to nurture me, to care for me. I was caring for myself, but at the same time, I didn't have to carry the load of being solo. I didn't have to carry the load of being the only person who's going to look out for me. Now, with all that being said, I didn't know I needed that until he showed up. I didn't know that I needed to have somebody tell me, as he did on a couple occasions, and just so many occasions now. But in the first couple times that I heard Sean say, "You look sexy," and it was like those words I've never heard before. So for him to say that, I wanted to know why. Like, why do you say that? Like, I'm literally dressed in everyday clothing, my lounge clothes, as far as like a t-shirt, some joggers, nothing special. Sometimes my hair wasn't even, combed like it is today or anything, but just him saying that, it was affirming, it was empowering, it was nurturing to my soul. All of those things I didn't know I needed as a woman that he gave me. Now, keeping in mind that I have been doing my own affirmations, but there is still, even when we've done all of the work, I'm a student of personal development, even when we've done all of the work, when you get married, you realize, not that you didn't realize before, but there's still more work to do. Um, and that's what our relationship has showed me. I'm glad that I don't have to, walk through life or do this next level of personal development alone, or walk through life for the next, 50 years or 60 years, by myself. I don't have to do life now by myself. I remember a woman saying that, and oftentimes women say this. I remember a woman saying that we don't need no man, this and that, and thinking that that was something empowering, but when in fact that's really something limiting. Now, it limits you. It limits what you have access to and what has access to you, or who has access to you and who you have access to. And then at the same time, I understand that, okay, it's not about me needing a man as a single woman. There are things that I can do on my own without the help of a man. However, I would always say this: I only need my husband. I only need my husband. Throughout the years, that was always my confession. That's probably why I had no prospects for dating. I had nobody approach me, because the only person that I needed was my husband. Now, that for me kept me from a lot of foolishness, that a lot of single women I know get into. But I never said that I don't need a man, because you have to think about the term strong Black woman. And I remember this lady saying it so well. Nobody comes to the aid of somebody who's strong. Think about it. If you think about the strongest person that you know, who comes to the aid of the person who is strong? Who comes to the aid of the strong Black woman? For me, there were very, 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 very few and limited times that somebody came to my aid, that somebody came and said, "How are you doing?" And it only began to happen as I was an adult that people would, occasionally check on me, see how I was doing and things. But because people associated me with being strong, they associated me with not needing the help, not needing the assistance, not needing to check in on me, or not even asking if I need anything. So the term strong Black women, let's just eliminate that altogether. For me personally, I hate the term. I don't think there is now. I think that there is. I come from a lineage of women that are strong women. They are. But a lot of times majority of the time, women are strong because they had to be. And I know that this is something that is passed down generationally. But a lot of women in my family are strong because they had to be. And for me, I was happy that I no longer had to be strong. I no longer have to be the strong one. I no longer have to watch my back because somebody else is watching my back. I no longer have to say, well, in case of an emergency, who am I going to call? Who am I going to put down? I have somebody to put down. I have an emergency contact. I don't have to text this person or that person to make sure, auntie or friend who's going to be the emergency contact. I don't have to put a bunch of people in a group text when I'm out of the country to say, hey, this is where I am, and I'll still do that. But the one person that I know beyond a shadow of a doubt who has my back is Sean, is my husband. So it released a lot of the weight and a lot of the burden of always looking after myself, caring for myself, keeping in mind this has been conditioned in me because I've always looked out for myself and cared for myself throughout my life. I've pretty much been on my own since I was 17, 18. Me and my brother had our own house together, senior year in high school for me. I think it was like junior year for him, but our mother bought a house and we lived in that house. So of course for us, it was on and popping. So we pretty much, I've taken care of myself my whole life. And that's been that's been a long time. Okay. So now to have somebody to take care of and look after me, and that's not saying that I'm not doing the same for him, because I know that I am, but he doesn't know that I'm recording this right now. So it is a relief, and it is definitely a weight and a burden lifted to now have somebody checking for me, have somebody looking out for me, have somebody saying, I got it, babe. So it has truly restored my femininity in ways that I didn't know that it needed restoration. It has restored my soul in so many ways. And just when you think you've done all the things that you can do in regards to personal development, and even as it relates to self-care, there's still more to do, especially when you find a mate, especially when you get married. There's still more personal development to do, but I'm very grateful that I no longer have to do it alone. I'm very grateful that I have a husband, that I have Sean, somebody who considers me, somebody who is consciously aware of me in everything that they do. So I wanted to share that with everything that we've talked about. I wanted to share that from a woman's perspective, from a wife's perspective. Although I was married to Sean for 12 years while he was in prison, which were some, rough years. But being single for now 9 years and then coming into marriage as a mature woman, is a big difference. So thank you for watching. I hope this blesses you. If you are a single woman, or if you are a woman desiring to be married, or if you are a wife right now at this moment. So please do like and subscribe and put your comments below. Thank you.